The story of the Lenovo Legion Go 2 is strange, frustrating, and almost unbelievable. When a company as large as Lenovo enters the handheld gaming space, expectations are naturally high. People assume that scale and resources will protect them from the kinds of mistakes smaller players might make. They expect smoother launches, better communication, and enough stock to satisfy demand. Yet, what we've seen with the Legion Go 2 has been the complete opposite. From the very beginning, Lenovo seemed to set itself up for success. The Legion Go 2 was equipped with the new AMD Z2 Extreme processor, designed for handhelds that wanted to compete with laptops in power. It also had the feature everyone had been asking for, an OLED screen. Gamers know how much difference an OLED display makes. Richer colors, deeper blacks, and an image that feels alive compared to the washed-out look of standard LCDs. That alone was enough to generate hype. Add in higher specs, a premium design, and the promise of Lenovo's engineering backing it all up, and this should have been one of the most confident launches of the year. But then came the missteps. At first, Lenovo's website promised that if you pre-ordered it, you'd get your device shipped within 6 to 9 days. That kind of delivery window builds trust. It reassures customers that Lenovo not only has units ready but also has logistics in place. And naturally, many people ordered directly from Lenovo. After all, where else would be safer than the source? Third-party retailers like Very in the UK had limited stock, and once those sold out, the logical choice was Lenovo's own store. Yet only days later, delivery windows shifted. Suddenly, the 6 to 9 days stretched to 2 to 3 weeks. Then, specific order numbers showed even later estimates. Some people were given October 24th as their expected delivery. Others saw November dates. And then, without clear warning, Lenovo pulled pre-orders altogether. Instead of a button to buy, the site simply displayed "coming soon." This kind of shifting communication can do more damage than an outright delay. If Lenovo had announced upfront that supply was limited, customers might have been disappointed, but they would have understood. Instead, they were strung along. Orders were placed under one promise and then revised, delayed, or cancelled after money had already changed hands. The experience of Lenovo's most loyal fans highlights the core problem. Those who ordered directly from Lenovo ended up being punished. Many of their pre-orders were cancelled entirely. Refunds were issued, but the frustration lingered. And even those who weren't cancelled outright were left in limbo, waiting without clear answers. Contrast that with customers who ordered through third parties. In the UK, buyers who went through very often had a better chance of receiving their consoles than those who went through Lenovo itself. That decision, prioritizing retailers over direct customers, felt like a betrayal. Lenovo even admitted in its Reddit update that orders through Lenovo.com were being cancelled to protect inventory for partners. In other words, business relationships came first, while passionate fans came second. Now, let's pause and think about what that means. When companies launch flagship products, they often rely on their most passionate fans to spread excitement. Those fans buy early, review units on social media, and generate buzz that convinces casual buyers to join in. By cancelling those orders, Lenovo not only disappointed their stronger supporters but also risked losing the exact kind of marketing that money can't buy. Word of mouth is priceless, and in this case, Lenovo turned it against itself. The official explanation was supply issues. According to customer support, demand had been far higher than expected, and certain parts were in short supply. The strongest suspicion is that the problem centers on the AMD Z2 Extreme processor. Evidence for this comes from the fact that non-extreme devices, ones using the regular Z2, were still available from some retailers. Meanwhile, the Extreme version, which powered the Legion Go 2, was nearly impossible to find. If this is true, Lenovo may not be the only one at risk. Asus and MSI are both preparing to launch their own Z2 Extreme handhelds. Asus has its upgraded ROG Ally variant, and MSI has its Claw handheld waiting in the wings. If AMD can't produce enough chips, then the entire market could feel the pinch. This is especially concerning because handheld gaming is on a sharp rise. The Steam Deck showed the hunger for powerful handhelds. The ROG Ally proved people were willing to pay premium prices for higher specs. The Legion Go 2, with its OLED screen and detachable controllers, promised to push the market forward again. But instead of leading that charge, Lenovo stumbled into chaos. The chaos wasn't just logistical. It was also communicative. Lenovo's decision to host a Reddit Q&A thread turned into a disaster. Customers flooded the comments with complaints about cancelled orders, unclear timelines, and a lack of transparency. Instead of calming the storm, the thread became a public reminder of Lenovo's mishandling. Every update felt reactive rather than proactive, as though Lenovo was scrambling to catch up rather than leading with confidence. And the most puzzling part is that Lenovo seemed genuinely unprepared for the demand. Which raises the question, what did they expect? This wasn't a budget device being quietly slipped into the market. This was a flagship product, positioned as the most powerful handheld available at launch. Did Lenovo really think only a few people would buy it? Did they underestimate how much gamers value an OLED display? Or were they blindsided by production shortages that cut their expected numbers at the last minute? The truth is, we may never know. But the consequences are clear. Customers lost trust. Even fans who were willing to forgive delays found themselves questioning Lenovo's priorities. Why cancel direct orders first? Why protect retailers at the expense of loyal fans? Why fail to provide consistent communication when people were asking for clarity? The optics alone are damaging. Imagine telling your most passionate supporters, "Thanks for believing in us. By the way, your order has been cancelled because we want to keep our business partners happy." That's not just poor communication. It's actively damaging to brand loyalty. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Handheld gaming is one of the fastest growing markets in tech. The Steam Deck created a new wave of interest. The ROG Ally showed how competition can drive features and performance higher. MSI is entering the race. And now Lenovo, with its massive resources and global presence, had the chance to make a statement. But instead of leading, they fumbled. And in markets like this, timing matters. If ASUS or MSI can deliver smoother launches, Lenovo risks losing not just sales but long-term position in the market. For individual customers, the impact is more personal. Some had been waiting months for this device, planning their budgets, and dreaming of what it would be like to game on the go with OLED quality. To have that excitement replaced with cancellation emails or indefinite delays is crushing. For many, it feels like Lenovo doesn't value them. And that feeling can last far longer than a refund. It's worth considering the psychological side of pre-orders. When customers put money down before a product is even available, they're not just buying hardware. They're buying into trust. They're saying, "I believe in this company enough to pay upfront, even before reviews, even before units are on shelves." To betray that trust by cancelling orders is more damaging than failing to sell stock at all. And that brings us to the central irony. The Lenovo Legion Go 2 had everything it needed to succeed. It had the specs. It had the hype. It had the timing. But what it didn't have was execution. A brilliant product can be sunk by a poor launch, and right now, Lenovo is learning that lesson the hard way. As of now, there are still more questions than answers. How many units did Lenovo produce? How many were cancelled? Will stock return in weeks? Or will this drag on for months? Will ASUS and MSI face the same shortage if the Z2 Extreme really is the bottleneck? And most importantly, can Lenovo repair the damage to its reputation among fans? For now, all we can do is wait. But one thing is certain, the launch of the Legion Go 2 will be remembered, not as a triumph, but as a case study in how not to treat your most loyal customers. That raises a bigger question. How many units did they actually produce? Were they expecting to sell only a handful? Did they underestimate the hype around the OLED display? Or did supply problems cut into their plans so severely that they were left with a fraction of what they needed? For fans, those questions don't matter much. What matters is the result: cancelled pre-orders, unclear shipping dates, and no confidence in Lenovo's communication. Even worse, it created doubt about the future. If this is how Lenovo handles a launch, what happens when there are firmware updates, hardware recalls, or future models? Can customers trust Lenovo to be reliable in the long run? For now, all anyone can do is wait. Wait to see when stock will return. Wait to see whether AMD confirms a shortage of the Z2 Extreme. Wait to see if ASUS or MSI run into the same problems when their devices hit the market. But one thing is certain, the Legion Go 2 launch, which should have been a triumph, has instead become a case study in how not to release a flagship gaming device.